Hi, my name is Melissa Zimmerman, and this is my spring practicum final project. My table of contents. My personal introduction is I have an educational background with a BS in kindergarten through ninth grade and an endorsement in special education. I am highly qualified in learning disability, emotionally disturbed, now known as behavior disorder, mentally retarded, now known as intellectual disability. My professional experience is I started out in a very rural school known as Center as a interrelated special educator for grades 6 through 8. And then I moved into the county day school and worked with grades 5 through 12 emotionally disturbed students. And then I became the lead teacher at that same school as we didn't have a principal at the time. Currently, I'm a reading intervention special educator at Truesdale Middle School with USD 259. This is my family. Cara, she is 19, just started college last year. She's going to Haskell in Lawrence and loves it and doing very well, and I'm excited about that. Larry is 12. He's a 7th grader at Marion Middle School. He's my brainiac. And Johnny, he's 9, and he's at Marion Elementary School in 4th grade. He's my sports star. And then my husband, Matt, and I have been married for about 15 years now. My practicum goals were to learn the practical aspects of being an educational leader, uphold the school vision while experiencing and carrying out administrative duties, promote community involvement throughout my practicum experience. My philosophy of educational leadership is, first and foremost, I believe all students can be educated and be successful. I'll uphold high standards for both students and faculty, be a catalyst for change and a source of inspiration and encouragement, be a model for all stakeholders and uphold the school vision, lead by example and be a positive role model, treat all school stakeholders with fairness, dignity, and respect, be innovative and data-driven. I believe collaboration is a vital part of the school climate and culture. I will recognize and value diversity in our school and community, and my school policies or our school policies and decision making will be based on standards of fairness, consistency, and honesty. My major objective was assigned to me by my principal, Terrell Davis, and we are a priority school, and so therefore we have to have strategies that we implement in all of our classes that we submit to the state. And so my job was to hold teachers accountable for the consistent use of these strategies in daily lessons, gain feedback from students about the effectiveness of using these strategies, as well as the frequency these strategies are being implemented in classes, and present the weekly results of the feedback to teachers and faculty to create opportunities for collaboration about the implementation of these strategies. My first activity, district activity, was to give a presentation on IEPs to paras and explain to them how to read them and what the benefit to knowing about them are. Had about 35 attendees in this session. My next district activity was to attend the Choices Fair and be representative of our school to promote our school to the community. My third activity was to attend a school board meeting. My fourth activity, as part of the leadership team, I went to the MTSS leadership meeting in downtown Wichita in place of my vice principal, and we talked about different strategies we can implement for our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students, as well as started beginning our presentation for the state about our MTSS process. My fifth activity was as part of the MTSS leadership team. I also went to an additional MTSS training, and the morning part was a letters training, and the afternoon part was to discuss the different data and how the MTSS process has affected our school building and whether we've seen it support that it's made positive changes or not. My secondary activity, my first activity was to give a staff in-service on basic behavior management. I presented to 15 teachers and 35 paras. Second one was attend an IEP meeting of a student who was transitioning from an alternative school into a high school as the administrator designee. My third activity was to supervise lunch, recess, and lunch and recess. Lunch is about 20 minutes long and recess is about 20 minutes long for 8th grade students, which was quite an adventure in the huge school I teach in. We have about 450 8th graders, so it was definitely entertaining. My fourth activity was to supervise bus departure and arrival. I also did this for not only the regular ed buses, but also the special ed buses. My fifth activity was to conduct PALS, which is a process for advanced learning strategies for school. It's a type of observation tool that we use for classroom walkthroughs. I did this several times throughout my practicum, and I would just go into a classroom for 10 to 15 minutes and watch things that were going on. Sixth activity was to supervise girls' basketball game. Seventh activity was to create the 8th grade team PowerPoint on the 5 building strategies. Our Form 4 plus an additional strategy we're attempting to implement into classrooms as part of that. My 8th activity was to help plan the 8th grade career fair. My 9th activity was to attend, my principal was attending a meeting, so I took over his position in the afternoon, and we had quite the adventurous afternoon where I got to act as the principal and be the go-between between social services and the police with a pretty violent incident that occurred at our school while the principal was gone. My 10th activity was every Tuesday and Wednesday we had curriculum team, and I would present different strategies, like building strategies that we're using and different ideas, and just open up a collaboration time so that we could talk about how things were going, what we needed to change, that sort of thing. My 11th activity was to be part of a teacher focus group for KSDE about the MTSS process. My 12th activity was to help supervise a dance. My 13th activity was to attend weekly leadership team meetings that we had after school. They were supposed to be weekly, but every now and again it turned into every other week. My 14th activity was to gather feedback, the student feedback forms, which you'll be seeing later. I had to meet with the students and explain to them how to fill them out. We did this twice with 2 separate different groups of students, and so that they could give us adequate and accurate feedback on the Form 4 that we implement in our classrooms. The 15th activity that I did was compile and input the data from those student feedback forms. My first elementary activity that I did was to visit with a school social worker and school counselor and psychologist about the new anti-bully program that we're implementing in our town. My second activity was to help supervise family read night. My third activity was to attend a PAC meeting. And my fourth activity was to help supervise and plan the 5th grade open house. And my last activity that I did was Donuts for Dads. Here are my pictures and my supporting documents. This was the Choices Fair, the MTSS flyers that I did with the leadership teams, the teacher focus group, the board meeting, examples of slides for the paraeducator presentation on behavior, pictures of cafeteria recess supervision, bus duty, the PALS observation forms that the teachers would receive after I observed them, girls basketball, the 8th grade presentation I did to refocus them on our building-wide strategies, Avid Dance, student feedback luncheon that we did to explain the feedback forms, the anti-bullying program, the leadership team meetings that I attended. And this is an example of the student feedback form that I in-serviced the kids on how to fill out. Here's an example of the graphs that I put together to present to teachers about the results of our student feedback. Donuts with Dads. My summary reflection: when I first began my practicum, I felt very overwhelmed and concerned. I was most concerned with the 150 hours. I wasn't sure I was going to make it. Not entirely sure how I would be able to complete elementary activities when I was at a middle school building. I was also worried about asking my principal about being my field supervisor because I was new to the district. And a little worried in the educational leadership program I may find out that I wasn't capable of being a leader or didn't want to become a principal. My conjecture stage: while it may be assumed that the vast majority of educators in both teaching and leadership capacities share to a large extent common goals and aspirations, among them student academic progress, successful student outcomes, and appropriate implementation of techniques and innovations that enhance the learning experience, how can an educational leader strive successfully to further those common elements and be ready with solutions for the inevitable learning gaps and setbacks by facilitating among school stakeholders a shared purpose, search for understanding, reflection on beliefs and experiences, revelations of ideas and information, and communicative practices focused on respectful listening and guidance. So when I really thought about this, I think in all reality that administrators strive for that every day, and that it is not something that is ever done being sought after. We're always working for it. So we're constantly working on this conjecture and striving for it. Through using the different types of activities I did and meeting the ISLLC standards. The school climate, population, and stakeholder groups are continuously changing, and an administrator has to adapt to the changes and help his staff adapt. So the synthesis stage, I believe that in this process I gained through my experiences a new appreciation for the depth of the meaning found in the ISLLC standards. Where before it just seemed like they were a piece of paper, now they feel like they really mean something and they need to be applicable to wherever my education leads me. While my master's program had made me familiar with these standards, the perspective I have now reflects an understanding of their significance to the learning experiences of young people and not just idealistic notions. This is my annotative bibliography. All of my different resources had to do with community involvement, administrative issues, connecting the home environment and the school environment, and just how to help educators become more adapt to change, as well as the Firm 4 and the different strategies in schools. And this is my summative evaluation form. It is signed by my principal and my vice principal. So I enjoyed this class very much. I really enjoyed getting the experience of being able to work as an administrator. And although sometimes it was hard to balance administrator versus teacher, since I was a full-time teacher at the same time, which most of you are probably experienced that same frustration. But it was definitely a worthwhile experience. Definitely gave me the insight I needed so that I could become a more dedicated professional and definitely understand the different things that I'm going to have to deal with as an administrator. Thank you very much.